Hey guys, Bran Hamill here with a new video. And what I want to talk to you about today is something that you've probably heard tons of times before, and that is it takes like 7, 5, whatever number of touch points in order to persuade a prospect into becoming a new customer for your business, be it B2B, B2C, e-commerce or anything. It takes roughly at least a handful of touch points before someone is willing to become a paying customer to your business. In today's video, what I want to talk to you about is how you can start those touch points, how you can initiate the relationship with your most ideal prospects and fester a fantastic relationship that allows you to educate them and persuade them to do business with you. I'm going to show you how to do this with 2 simple techniques that are proven and tried and battle tested within my own businesses and also with my clients around the world. If you're trying to get your business to the next level or trying to blow through a revenue barrier, this is definitely the video for you. But without doubt, the best thing that you can do to fill your top of funnel is smash that subscribe button and click the like button for this video. It really does help me with the YouTube algorithm. And I'm producing this content. Each video takes me in the order of about 5 and even up to 9 to 10 hours. So and I'm not generating really any revenue directly through these videos. So if you do find it in your heart to push that button, I really would appreciate it. It's quite funny how the world works. I've been planning to do this video for probably 2 weeks now. I've had it all planned out, the thumbnails created and all that fun stuff. And weirdly enough, I was talking to a gentleman just a couple of days ago that has an e-commerce store working fantastically well. I mean, generating in order of over $500,000 a month in revenue, and just in the previous 30 days, just over $280,000 in revenue. He's generating a ton of his revenue with Facebook ads, and he hit me up just to talk about Google Shopping campaigns. Funny enough, went to my website and just filled in the contact form, and we just had a 1-hour conversation just talking about all things that fun about Google Shopping. But what I want to talk to you about is that towards the end of the conversation, I revolved our talk around to Facebook ad strategy and what's working for him and what I can extract from him and essentially hand over to you. And he had a really defined, mapped out funnel path that is eerily similar to what I have in front of you just now. And I actually said this is weirdly what I've created for myself and for my clients. And we had a bit of a laugh over that. And it's just funny how consistent principles, as what I'm about to show you right now, flow through into so many different types of businesses and into so many different types of people. And it works fantastically well. And I just want to get that point across to you that you can pull this strategy out and plug it straight into your business and work with something that is proven and that will work for you. You may have to tweak and test some of the points around the messaging and what you're trying to convey and the persuasion tactics that you're using, but don't deviate away from the strategy because it works. It's as simple as that. So what I want to talk to you about first is the content strategy in order to fill your top of funnel. So what I want to do is quickly talk through the strategy that's in front of you that's set up for e-commerce. I'm going to quickly tweak it on the run and how you can apply it to B2B or a B2C type of setup if you're a brick and mortar kind of store as well. And then what I want to do is I found a couple of examples to really illustrate how this strategy works and how you can do the research in terms of the content and implement it both with Facebook ads, with Google ads, and also go through some landing pages. So it's going to be a pretty interesting and cool video in my opinion. So let's just get stuck straight in. So here we are with the strategy. And when it comes to traffic, I don't think anyone really cares where traffic comes from. You should remove your ego if you want to be at the top of Google for the sake of being at the top of Google. There's no money in ego. So with that being said, it doesn't really matter where you get traffic from. All that matters is that where are your ideal prospects hanging out and what are the most desirable traffic channels. So here are obviously the main kind of traffic channels. We've got Facebook, Google, Instagram, Pinterest, remarketing. You can also have native ads and things like that, email, things of that nature. But these are typically the core big ones. So this is the strategy, and what we want to do is we're talking about the top of funnel. So the top of funnel is the pre-sale content. Now it can range in two different aspects, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this video primarily. First is delivering content that will only attract your ideal prospect, and that helps educate them in and around the products or services that you offer. Now, education is the primary key objective here. If you focus on education, the authority, the goodwill will build up, and it will help you create a fantastic relationship with your ideal prospects. But also, what you want to be doing with your top of funnel content or your pre-sale content is still focusing on an objective. So I'll show you one example in just a moment about an objective, but before the objective or the capture or the lead capture mechanism that this business is using, they're providing a whole host of information to not only educate, but also to pre-qualify this potential prospect and make sure that they're an ideal prospect for their email automation sequences and their follow-up sequences within their various types of marketing. So what we have is a pre-sale piece of content that is education-based typically. It can be a case study, testimonial-based, something of interest as well, or topical. That all these types of things can work fantastically well, and we'll see examples of these in a few moments. So in your pre-sale content, what we have here is a desired core objective. Now, if the person doesn't complete the core objective, we have an exit intent pop up. Again, trying to capture the information of the prospect. If they do not fill in the core objective or the exit intent objective, we can use remarketing, as we can see the symbol here, into another style of pre-sale content, or sometimes I like to use the same pre-sale content in order to get them back down into the objective in order to get them, to complete the objective that we want them to complete. So no matter what type of business that you have, whether it's B2B, brick and mortar, e-commerce, the pre-sale kind of content types are very, very similar. And I'm going to show you how to research them in just a few moments as well. So as we move down into our strategy a bit further down, we move them into a product page. Again, we have the objective of we want them to buy. Obviously, we want money from them. We want to be extracting money from them in order to provide them the value that our goods or services provide. We're not looking at this as a kind of a sleazy or slimy kind of snake oil salesman kind of situation, but it's more of I like to look at it as that it's my fiduciary responsibility to do all I can to persuade the person to uptake the products or services that I'm selling, because I know they are very good and that I'm an honorable business operator. Whereas someone might go to somewhere else with an inferior product, with inferior morals and ethics, that potentially may get ripped off or have a bad experience, and I do not want that. So that's how I like to look at my marketing. So as I mentioned, they come down to a product page. They purchase the product, fantastic, and we move them through the shopping cart, the checkout process, the upsell process, the thank you, and we try and get them to re-engage with other products or services or repurchase in terms of increasing the frequency and things like that. Now, let's say that the person doesn't purchase. We can use dynamic retargeting through Google ads and Facebook ads to get them to come back through. We can have an email automation sequence that might have a discount email sequence or a value build-up kind of email automation sequence that's tied on. Again, we can have an exit intent pop-up to help capture this information. And again, this is primarily trying to get people to come back to this central dollar figure product page, purchase, and go through the checkout process. Now, for instance, if you're a service-based business, again, you're trying to get the person to the service-based page. Now, instead of a discount kind of email or automation sequence, you might want to tell the stories of half a dozen customers that have had a fantastic experience with your product and service and share the story. Now, you want different stories. You don't want someone that was in the exact same situation. You want to show different angles of how your product and service can work in order to achieve the desired end result for different types of prospects that want that product or service. Again, if someone comes down the exit intent pop-up, we have more content to get them back through to the product page, and we can use custom audiences based upon your specific URL parameters to help target that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about there, and that's just a jump too far in terms of knowledge, jump into my channel, have a look at my Facebook videos, because they'll help you how to create custom audiences that are specific to the behavior of your visitors, which is really, really important. Again, just if you're a service business or brick and mortar based business and you're pitching more of a service, again, you can have remarketing ads, especially on Facebook, with video case studies, or not generic, but kind of like a staple kind of text case studies that'll work fantastically well. Something that I've used time and time again are case studies in multiple different formats, in multiple different targeting multiple different angles. Again, what you can also do is use testimonials. Just one added fantastic tip that works wonderfully well is your product or service in demonstration format, primarily and hopefully in video format, because you can just do so many things with video, with custom audiences and lookalike audience and scalability, which is fantastic. So to go through some examples, now I picked just a couple of different examples in what I think are completely different niches that will allow you to kind of hopefully wrap your head around how this may work for your clients or for your business. So I just come to the Facebook ads library, and I've found Boomstick by Cindy Joseph, and I'm just narrowing down on some ads that they're running. They're running a whole heap of different ads. Funnily enough, and I did not plan on this, is that they've started to run ads on something I'm going to talk about later in the video. So we'll be coming back to these guys. Funny enough, it's funny how the world works. So with that being said, we have a top of funnel ad here. 5 simple tips for a fresh look. Now there's a little video here, and it's pretty basic. Probably doing well on Instagram, this type of ad. But if we click and view to the landing page, we can see here that this is definitely a pre-sale page. They're definitely A/B split testing. We just saw the reload there. So we know that this is something that they've been using for a long time and that they are continually testing. So we don't want notifications. So just scrolling down, we can see here that 5 makeup tips for older women. So again, specifically talking about a benefit and calling out their audience. Now we have 5 real quick tips here. And as we slide down, we see some positioning. We see some story-based stuff. We see some credibility with Jennifer Anderson. And we can check our new products. So their core objective here is to get people into viewing shop pages and product pages and category pages, it seems like. So we can see here that these pre-sale pages don't have to be complicated. This business is probably doing, from what I've been able to research and what I've heard from different conferences, around about $20 million per year. So, this is something that you can dig deep into yourself and really analyze their communication and their marketing to pull that out and plug it straight into your business. And just as I go to exit the page, funny enough, they have an exit pop up. So again, be part of the Pro Age Revolution, join our Boom Club and get get my top 8 skincare tips for women over 40. Yes, no, we'll say no. So the next one is The Motley Fool, which is a fantastic informational based product that is in the financial service. They offer a newsletter around stocks and shares and things of that nature, and they provide advice on when to buy, when to hold, when to sell. You probably kind of get the idea. Now we can see a whole host of different types of ads that they're running, and I just want to target on the top of funnel based around the cannabis kind of industry, marijuana kind of industry. So they've got one ad here for marijuana stock, and if we slide down, we can see a couple of others. Another one here, another one here. Now these are the landing pages, and this is the landing page that I referenced just a little bit earlier. So election alert, this is probably a little bit, this is an inactive ad at the moment. We can see it's dated November 6th, so this was definitely last year. But we can see here that they're offering information Now this is on a dedicated landing page, there's no navigation, but if I click here, I go to the main website. If we slide down, it's a fair bit of content. Does this investment opportunity interest you? Yes. Well, then that's a little micro commitment. It's kind of like the Tommy Hopkins kind of way of getting people to say yes or nod their head during a presentation. That micro commitment makes it easier for you to ask for a bigger commitment a little bit later. Now, these guys test like nothing else. These guys are absolutely like laser-like with their testing. So, having that little pop-up and getting that micro commitment is probably working really well, and potentially something that you should be testing for yourself. So they're capturing the lead information, and no doubt that this page would have the Facebook pixel, potentially the Google Ads retargeting pixel, and they're retargeting people based upon the viewership. It might be time-based people that spend 45 seconds or longer. They're the only people that are getting remarketing based ads for this. So another landing page that they've got, one stock for the coming marijuana boom. Again, different content, but still just as long. We haven't got the little micro commitment action or mechanism just before they ask for the objective, but you get the idea. Again, if you wanted to read this and understand the actual framework of how they're writing the communication, I really do urge you to do that. But how do we research top of funnel content? How do we start off the initial ideas that your prospects will be interested in? Now, what I want to propose to you is a somewhat of an awkward niche. Now, because some of you guys might be in really obscure kind of industries that's hard to target or hard to think about or hard to find content about. So I've picked an accountant that only does accounting work for restaurants. Now, accounting is somewhat, getting down to a pretty niche specific kind of industry, but making it only applicable to the restaurant industry really does narrow it down and make it a lot more difficult. So how do we go about it? Now, the first step I like to do is come over to a website called answerthepublic.com. Now, it's a fantastic little website. You got this guy kind of stalking you and telling you, I don't know what he's doing actually. I don't know if there's sound here, but nonetheless, what you want to do is type in some keywords that are related to your industry. So what I've done is simply plug straight in restaurant accounting. Now we say get questions. Now this website will take just a few moments to load, and I'm using the free version, and you do get some fantastic nice little benefits with the paid version, but the majority of people, I would assume, don't have the paid version, so we're going to march on with the free version. Now as we come down, we start to get mind maps on how to come up with ideas relating to the keywords that we've inputted. Now you can use multiple different variations or change up the keywords as often and as much as you like. So what we have here is just a whole bunch of different ideas how to make restaurant accounting. So none of these are really all too specific. Now, how to do restaurant accounting? We're getting a little bit closer. If we scroll down, we start to see some more kind of questions and topics that might be interesting. But if we scan through them, then most of these aren't really all too good. And I picked this industry or this industry in this niche on purpose in some ways because it is hard, and Answer the Public isn't being all too helpful in many large respects. Now, if we come down here, we're starting to get a little bit more interesting. Restaurant accounting Excel template. So there could be templates I could give away for free that might be helpful. So we'll start to keep some of these things in mind. I would definitely be taking notes of putting these into a spreadsheet, the ones that are even just loosely related. But we can scroll down here and we can start to see some alphabetical order based questions and ideas around. And I would spend probably about 10 to 15 minutes really quickly going through some of these. Now, as we can see that it hasn't been too fruitful using Answer the Public. So my next stop is YouTube. Now I like to come over to YouTube and type in, again, restaurant accounting. And I want to see, the channels that are dedicated to my industry. Generally, there are channels dedicated to your industry. Now, the reason why I want to do that is the market is the best dictator of what is working, or in terms of what content is working for you to attract your ideal prospects. So what we have here is the restaurant boss. Yeah, we'll take him. Matt Plapp. That's a odd last name, but we'll go with him as well. Doc TV. We won't go with him. James Sawyers has a bit of a playlist that looks here, so we'll go with him as well. Who else are we going to target? Cafe Supplies. We might have a look at this one as well. So we've got a couple. Now let's start to investigate these and see if we can start to branch out and drill down to specific types of content that are really doing well for, restaurant accounting and that niche. So first up, we have the restaurant boss. So if we come into videos, we see he has 70,000 subscribers, so he's doing well. He's releasing maybe a video every 2 videos, maybe a week, roughly. What we want to do is come over to most popular. And now this will give us an idea of the most popular types of content that will help attract the ideal prospects. This guy's catering, excuse the pun, for restaurant owners. Now what we can see here, food cost formula. And I did quickly have a look at it. And we can see here, restaurant startup mistakes. What is the role of a restaurant manager? Here we are getting really specific content types for a really obscure type of industry that we want to target. So again, I'd be targeting all the videos, or taking a list of all the videos that have over 100,000 views, and I'd be watching each one, taking bullet points. How do I make that better? Noticing the good and the bad points, and how do I create a piece of content in and around what he has created. Do I create a very similar video but make it better? Do I create a piece of text, an infographic, a cheat sheet, a checklist, something like that, a food cost formula spreadsheet that I can give away? The ideas really start to flow really quickly once you have a really good research process down. So we've come over to Matt Plapp, and we're going to skip Matt because he's not dedicated to restaurants. So he's a bit of a digital generalist, so to speak. James Sawyers has a couple of playlists, but they're not his own, so we're going to skip James as well. So some of the other YouTubers that I looked at weren't fruitful at all. Now, what I want to do is take the food cost from the restaurant boss, plug that into YouTube, and see what we can find as well. So we've got Food Handler HQ, definitely related. Bo Bryant, and I found this guy earlier, so we'll definitely have a look at him. So you can see that I should do my due diligence before I jump into these videos. Sometimes I wing them, sometimes I do a little bit of research. I thought it would be easier, to be fair, but nonetheless, I lucked out, but we've found some good ones now. So we come over to Food Handler HQ. Again, we go through the same kind of process, and we can see here that how to calculate food cost percentage or food cost percent. This is the one topic that everyone is gunning for, and that is something that we definitely want to be creating a piece of content about. Again, with Bo Bryant, we can see that food cost, the restaurant P&L. Again, we're starting to see some fantastic ideas around what types of content we can create for your most ideal prospects. Now, lastly, I like to come to Ahrefs, come to the Content Explorer. Now, I've typed in restaurant food cost, and I can start to play around with filters here in terms of social shares, traffic values, and things of that nature. Depending upon the type of content I want to create, I can also say I want to find the top YouTube videos, things like that. I'm not going to create a tutorial on Ahrefs because this video will be on the long side as it is. So we can start to go through here and find different types of content that are applicable to the specific piece of content, in this case food costs, and really map out like the gold standard of content. Watch the videos of Bo Bryant, the restaurant boss. Again, find people here in Ahrefs that have created good content with lots of social shares, or have good organic traffic numbers. And what that will allow us to do is essentially create a Frankenstein type piece of content that merges all the best pieces of content into one that we can deliver to our target audiences and start to fill that top of funnel. Okay, moving on from the content-based top of funnel and into contests, which is the second technique I like to use, especially with startups and people that do not have a lot of customer data or information that I can use to really narrow down on my audience. The reason I like contests and some of the reasons why I don't like contests, firstly, it allows me to get just an absolute crap ton of data really, really quickly that is pretty decent to decent. So that allows me to scale things much more quickly, but it also allows me to produce results really quickly, which is fantastic for me and also my clients as well. Now, the reason why I don't like contests is that if you do not get the giveaway right in terms of the thing that you are giving away right, you will have a very, very bad time. Now, what you want to be giving away is something very related to your product or your product. You do not want to be giving away money, iPads, cars, things that are not related to your product or service. You will get a whole heap of people that are not interested in your product or service or business and just want what you're giving away. Ideally, giving away the product is fantastic. Now, this piece of software, Vyper, VYPER.io, is a fantastic viral contest software. I have no affiliation with them. I'm not even giving you an affiliate link. Their pricing is pretty reasonable. Now, 49 to 149 agencies, or 299, 300. Now, the reason why I like these guys is they allow you to gamify your viral contests. So what I mean by that is contests have this ability, if you set them up right, to gain momentum themselves, almost like a perpetuating machine in a way. So what you can do is start your contest and then allow people to earn more points in your contest in relation to activities to promote your contest, if that makes sense. So in essence, someone fills in their email address in order to enter the contest. Then they can get more entries if they like and share your Facebook page, if they email their friends and family, things like that. If they get into promoting your contest, they can see their position in the ladder in terms of their likelihood of winning. So the more things they do in order to promote your contest, the more points they earn, the higher they move up the ladder, the better it is for you because you're getting free eyeballs and free contest entrants. But it also allows them to get a better chance of winning your product. So essentially, this is why I like Vyper.io. Now we'll keep running with Boomstick. Now, Boomstick by Cindy Joseph, we can see here that they're running tons of ads at the moment for a giveaway, new giveaway, different types of ads for new giveaway, and it just keeps on going and going and going. Now, these guys could be doing a great deal better, in my opinion, with their giveaway, which is good for us because we can poke the bad and we can also learn from the good. Now, we can see here the Boomstick, not a dedicated landing page. People can quickly move out and get distracted into other areas of the website. We do not want that with our giveaways. We have here free Boom. Maybe be a bit more specific with that. It kind of doesn't make sense until you read the rest. I don't like things that aren't that don't fulfill themselves in terms of what they say. Free Boom doesn't mean anything to anyone unless it's part of the remarketing. So people that reach the pre-sale page that we looked at earlier in the video, and then they're offering this to people that haven't completed the desired actions in terms of their objectives. Now, if that's fine, Free Boom's perfectly applicable. Now, enter in your email address. We come down here. Now, this is where they're starting to try and gamify, but they're not using Vyper, which is, I think, probably a little bit poor, because I don't know if you target these actions, so post a comment, post a photo of yourself, post a comment on Instagram, etc., you get one entry. Who's tallying these up? These guys are spending probably in the order of probably $500 or $1,000 a day promoting this giveaway. To manually tally them up, impossible, or improbable, I should say. So, and there's no gamification in terms of seeing yourself move up the ladder, which people love. Like, you look at Reddit, people do anything to get the points on Reddit. So again, people do a great deal to get the points here. You want to gamify. See, let people have the experience of moving up. So that's just my tidbit. Now, what happens when you approaching the end and completion of your new contest? What I like to do is obviously dramatize the giveaway, the act of giving it away. Make sure it's on video. Make sure that people can experience and see that it is a legitimate giveaway. With that, I like to then email everybody with a second prize. Everybody gets second prize, and that is a small discount to the product or service. Might not be applicable to your potential potential product or service, but generally, you can craft something in and around that lines, and that allows me to quickly extract money from the list that we just created and try to recoup all of the marketing expenditure we just spent building that email list through that contest. Now, I do have a YouTube video rather, about creating contests in my YouTube channel, and I highly recommend watching that to go right through the whole strategy of how to create a profitable contest. Now, once I've sent out the second prize email, then I like to create an email automation sequence that nurtures them, tells them a story about how the business is founded, talks about the unique mechanism of the product or service, or the unique value proposition as it's more often referred to, but I like unique mechanism. It just fits better with me, as you probably heard in past videos that I mentioned before. And then I like to build up value in terms of and proof and credibility through demonstration, through testimonials, through case studies, right through a dedicated automation sequence. Now, this sequence can be templatized. I'm not quite sure if that's a word, but it gets the idea what I'm trying to get across to you. Now, what I like to do is run these every 30 days. It becomes a semi-automated system and process. You might just have a 3 or 4 day like grey period where there is no contest running, where you set up the next one. But again, these things can be rolled out continually like a perpetual machine, which is fantastic because it's low touch, it's not much work, and these things generate business, help fill the top of your funnel. No matter whether you're a startup, which they're fantastic for, or whether you're like the Boomstick, these guys have been around for a number of years, doing over $20 million a year in revenue, and these guys are still using this tactic. So there you have it, guys. How to fill the top of your funnel with content and contests. Now, if you would like to, scale your business but pay no money, you can talk to me for free. Just as I mentioned to you early in the video with the gentleman that's doing $250,000 up towards over $500,000 a month in revenue. That's per month. He reached out, we talked about Google Shopping, and he's on his way to really scaling his Google Shopping. He paid me no money. I broke down his Google Shopping campaign. He got real good, insightful information, practical advice. We actually went through button clicks. I made him a video on how to do most things. So that's fantastic. And if you want to do that, come to my website, scroll down to the bottom or into the middle, click how may I contact Brent, and fill out the form. We can sit down, we can talk about things. If you want to talk about working together, again, that's also up to you. I have no desire to instigate that kind of conversation, but if you want to talk about that, I'm down for that type of conversation as well. That being said, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and also click the like button. It really does help with the YouTube algorithm. And with all this being said, I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and thank you for watching.